Hi, everyone. My name is Pooja Tilvawala, and I'm the Youth Engagement Manager here at the Climate Initiative. This year, thanks to UNICEF and U.S.A, the official UN Youth Constituency, I had the wonderful privilege of attending the 16th Conference of Youth, known as COY16, as well as the 26th Conference of Parties, known as COP26, both of which took place in Glasgow from around October 28th all the way until November 13th. During this year's Conference of Youth, I had the wonderful opportunity of learning from other youth around the world who are leading initiatives or taking part in initiatives for our environment and its people. I served as a country coordinator for U.S.A. along with Monica Dwight and previously Amanda Wilkerson. And during our year, we collected input from youth in the U.S. on what demands they would like to make of the U.S. government and see reflected as action for climate change in our country. Now, with these youth, along with, they were part of 40,000 youth who provided input to this ginormous global youth statement that was produced thanks to some gracious volunteers who are part of U.S.A. And we presented this global youth statement to Alok Sharma, the president of COP26, then various other leaders from around the world, including America's very own John Kerry. And we received great input on great feedback, I should say, about how to approach presenting the Global Youth Statement next year, which we'll take into consideration. And it was just great to see all these different youth from around the world to come together and put together this youth statement, which I recommend you read by visiting the COY16 website. Attending COP26 this year was also a privilege made possible by UNICEF and U.S.A. Given this privilege, I had the opportunity to attend negotiations that were going on during COP26, side events, then various events held at the pavilions as well. By pavilion, I mean they were ginormous booths, some for countries, some for civil society organizations. And at these various booths, you got to learn about the country, learn or attend events that they were holding throughout the day. And it was very interesting. I, in particular, enjoyed events at the Resilience Hub, the U.S. Center Hub, and the Nature Hub. And then there were several others that I attended as well, like one youth event at the Moroccan Hub and the Norwegian Hub. It was very cool. For those wondering what a typical day at COP could look like for you, I can share what my day looked like. I would wake up, look at all the events that are happening that day, figure out what I wanted to attend of the various side events or the negotiations if I had permission to attend, or plenary sessions where they had some big time speakers. They had a world leaders event during the first 2 days. So sometimes you'd see John Kerry or Obama or Narendra Modi or somebody else walking down the hallway. And if you had the permission, you were able to attend some of these plenary events. And luckily, I got the chance to hear President Barack Obama speak and got a front row seat, which was very lucky. And it was just wonderful to hear from somebody who I really look up to. And he is as great of a speaker in person as I thought. So in addition to just making my agenda, figure out how am I getting to the venue today? And luckily, COP26 provided these travel passes, so you could use public transportation to get to the venue every day and get back home. And then once there, I would attend the U.S.A spokes meeting in the morning. Basically, U.S.A would discuss all the happenings of the day prior to and what would be happening, which events to look out for on the day of. And it would be a good time to just get to know other members of U.S.A and maybe figure out who's going where so you could tag along. And also for the working groups of Youngo to meet, organize, figure out meeting times, figure out how to draw in more people or invite more people, youth, not just from Youngo, but from just that we're at COP, to see what Youngo is about, to learn about the various working groups and join if interested. So after the agenda was kind of set, and after speaking with youth during the spokes meeting, I kind of would figure out, this is my plan for the day, and input it into my calendar and start attending those events. During the side events, I mainly looked for events related to loss and damage, resilience, youth empowerment, and climate education. Those were kind of like my main areas of interest. And then occasionally I would attend some other ones that I was just kind of testing out to see where my interest would lie, of ones that I don't typically attend, such as some climate finance ones and someone like water or disaster relief. And let's see, so I would attend like anywhere from 4 to 8 events per day, I'd say, side events, plenary, etc. And in addition to the events, you also have the opportunity to attend meetings, participate in meetings of Youngo. So I was part of the ACE working group, and now would like to be part of the loss and damage working group. And so I got the chance to meet the people who are already in the group, get to know everybody, and just figure out a plan for during our time at COP and for after COP together. And then, let's see, I would explore some of the cool areas at COP. So I really liked the Action Hub, where you would walk in, there's this giant globe in the middle, and you see all these other people around you that are either working or getting interviewed or conducting interviews. And then there were also some side event rooms. It was a really like happening, hustle bustle type of space that made you like, gave you energy in some ways, or made you tired. But it was really cool to see. And then at the end of the day, after attending all the events, negotiations, plenary sessions, etc., meetings, we, as in the different groups of youth, would come together, pick a place to have dinner, grab a drink, and then after dinner and drinks, we would just go home and begin again the next day. And that was our agenda kind of for 13 days. And the other cool parts of COP26, there were many youth who were leading actions, they call them, within the COP venue. So these were a form of protest or a form of garnering attention around issues very important to those leading these actions or taking part in these actions. So some that I helped with or took part in were for a fossil fuel movement, climate education declaration by Fridays for Future, and then some Indigenous movement and Black Lives Matter actions. And then at the same time, outside of the venue, there were very important protests and marches going on as well to raise awareness and increase people's voices or capacity to reach a wider audience by really bringing to the attention issues ranging from the fossil fuel industries, carbon emissions, to Indigenous people's lives mattering and Black lives mattering, and protecting the Amazon, to protecting Bangladesh. There were people from all over coming to raise awareness and raise their voices so that they were heard. And even outside the venue, there were projections of young leaders, older leaders, onto some of the COP buildings with quotes by them to raise their voices. And so it was really nice to see how people took advantage of this time, this opportunity to increase their voice, have themselves heard. Now, during COP in particular, I was, so during COP, some issues that I was following was what's going to happen to the $100 billion pledge or promise that was made to countries most vulnerable to climate change. And, it was disappointing to see that at the end of the day, there was only basically a dialogue formed to say, we're going to continue this conversation. We're going to figure out how we're going to create some sort of adaptation fund, loss and damage fund, or way to get this money to the people that need it due to the emissions that we have, emitted into the atmosphere that have led to a lot of the catastrophe that others are experiencing. So I hope that that conversation moves along fast and that we see the change we need to see and the pledges being made and the action being taken to get that $100 billion per year to these vulnerable countries. And honestly, I think some estimates have said that a lot more is needed. I can't remember at the moment how much more, but I think a lot more is needed than that. And the other thing I was following is, are we keeping 1.5 alive? Because there was this huge talk around, are we keeping 1.5 alive? Are the commitments being made enough to keep our temperature increase at no more than 1.5 degrees Celsius? And the answer is, unfortunately, no, not enough commitments were made to keep 1.5 alive. However, the pathway set could get us to 1.5, but the odds are looking low for that, quite frankly. I think right now with the country's NDCs, we are projected to reach like 2.5 degrees Celsius, which is unacceptable. But with some net zero pledges made by India and other countries, we could reach 1.8, 1.9, but even that is iffy. So clearly more commitments, more net zero pledges need to be made for us to keep the 1.5 degrees Celsius dream alive. Yeah, that's kind of a little summary from me. If you have more questions, please do reach out to me at pooja@theclimateinitiative.org or check out some articles that I've included in the blog posted by the Climate Initiative. Thank you.